VO2 max. It is arguably the single strongest predictor of when you die in the peer-reviewed literature. The Cleveland Clinic tested 122,000 adults on a treadmill and tracked mortality for decades. Bottom fitness quartile carried roughly 5 times the mortality risk of the top quartile. That is a bigger effect on your life expectancy than quitting smoking in the Blair Cooper Institute data. And here is the strange part. Your cardiologist does not measure it. Your primary care doctor does not measure it. There is no standard slot for VO2 max on a routine physical. The single most predictive fitness number in medicine sits outside the standard workup. Let's start with what VO2 max actually is. It is the maximum volume of oxygen your body can pull from the air, deliver through the bloodstream, and burn inside working muscle per minute, measured in milliliters of oxygen per kilogram of body weight per minute. It is a whole system measurement, lungs pulling air in, heart pumping oxygenated blood out, blood vessels delivering it, mitochondria burning it. If any of those systems is weak, the number is low. If all of them are strong, the number is high. That is why VO2 max tracks mortality better than any single organ test. It is the whole cardiovascular and metabolic engine measured in one number. Now, the mortality data. Mandsager published in JAMA Network Open in 2018. 122,000 adults tested on a treadmill at Cleveland Clinic between 1991 and 2014, adjusted for age, sex, and standard risk factors. Elite fitness carried a hazard ratio of 0.2 for all-cause mortality compared to low fitness. Low fitness carried a hazard ratio of 5.04 compared to high fitness, and there was no upper limit observed. The fittest people kept getting the benefit. There is no ceiling where more fitness stops helping. The Blair paper in JAMA in 1995 is the older but foundational cohort. 9,700 men, fitness tested twice with roughly 5 years between the tests. Men who moved from unfit to fit had 44% lower all-cause mortality than men who stayed unfit. Just moving one step up the fitness ladder, not becoming an athlete, just moving off the bottom. Kodama's 2009 meta-analysis in JAMA pulled 33 studies together, over 100,000 participants. Every one met higher fitness score, roughly the difference between walking briskly and jogging slowly, cut all-cause mortality 13% and cardiovascular events 15%, consistent across every cohort in the meta. And the raw scientific statement from the American Heart Association in 2016 made the institutional case in one sentence: VO2 max should be treated as a clinical vital sign. So the question flips. If VO2 max is this predictive and improving it has this size of effect on mortality, what actually raises it fastest? That is where the Norwegian 4x4 protocol enters the story. Wislöf published a randomized trial in Circulation in 2007. 27 heart failure patients randomized to Norwegian 4x4 intervals or steady-state moderate cardio. 12 weeks. The 4x4 group raised their VO2 max 46%. The steady-state group raised it 14% in heart failure patients. Helgerud, in the same year in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise, replicated it in healthy young men. Higher VO2 max gains from 4x4 than volume-matched steady-state. Rogmo, in 2004, showed the same pattern in coronary artery disease patients. Across 3 different populations, the 4x4 protocol raised VO2 max more per hour of training than any other cardio prescription. We'll cover the exact protocol, how hard is hard enough, and how to know if you're doing it right in the next part.
Here is the protocol the research actually backs. The Norwegian 4x4. 10 minutes of warm-up at an easy pace. 4 minutes hard at 85 to 95% of your max heart rate. 3 minutes active recovery at about 60 to 70%. Repeat that 4 times. 5-minute cool down. Total session, about 40 minutes. Twice a week is enough, 3 times if you can recover well. The 4-minute hard interval is the whole point. At the 4th minute, you should be unable to speak in full sentences, not gasping, not falling off the treadmill. But if you can hold a conversation with someone next to you, you are not there. The Wisloff and Helgerud protocols specifically prescribed 85 to 95% of max heart rate because that intensity is where the cardiac output adaptation is strongest. Below 85, you are training endurance. Above 95, you crash before 4 minutes. The 4-minute window at that heart rate is the sweet spot for pushing stroke volume up, which is the mechanism that lifts VO2 max. The 3-minute recovery is also non-negotiable. Not 30 seconds, not a full standing rest. 3 minutes at 60 to 70% of max heart rate. Active, walking, slow pedaling, easy jog. This lets the heart rate come back down enough that the next hard interval starts near clean. If you skip the recovery, you fall apart on interval 3 and 4. The modality does not matter much. Running, biking, rowing, elliptical, ski erg, uphill hiking. What matters is that the modality lets you sustain a heart rate response in the 85 to 95% range for 4 minutes. Some people cannot get their heart rate that high on a bike. Some people cannot get there running. Pick the modality your body responds to. Test on a wrist heart rate monitor and confirm. Now the frequency. 2 4x4 sessions per week is the research anchor. 3 sessions is the upper end. Beyond 3, recovery starts limiting the gain. This is not the only cardio you should do. Ideally, the 4x4 sits alongside 1 or 2 easy Zone 2 sessions per week. Long, steady walks, easy bike rides, jog and chat pace. Zone 2 builds mitochondrial density and raises the fitness floor. 4x4 raises the ceiling. Both matter, but if you have only 40 minutes twice a week, the 4x4 is the single highest signal per hour of training. 12 weeks of consistent Norwegian 4x4 training typically raises VO2 max 10 to 20% in healthy adults. The Wisloff heart failure trial saw more, 46%, because the starting fitness was so low. The Helgerud Healthy Young Adult trial saw about 7% more than steady state at the same volume. Your gain will depend on where you start. A few honest caveats. High-intensity intervals raise cardiovascular risk in the acute moment of exercise. Rogmo published a large cardiac rehab audit in Circulation in 2012 and found that even in coronary patients under supervision, the event rate was not much higher than moderate exercise. But if you are over 60, sedentary, have a heart condition, or uncontrolled blood pressure, do not start Norwegian 4x4 without talking to a physician first. A stress test may be worth it. Same for anyone with a family history of premature cardiac events. And a tracking note, consumer wristwatches from Garmin, Apple, and Polar estimate VO2 max from heart rate response during exercise. The estimate is not as accurate as a lab test, but the trend line is real. If your watch VO2 max estimate is rising over 12 weeks of 4x4, the training is working. If you want the metabolic side of the same longevity story, the $5 bedroom fix quietly wrecking most people's insulin sensitivity every night, check out our video on bedroom light and diabetes risk. The link is in the description below. This is research, not medical advice. Talk to your doctor before changing anything, especially if you are starting high-intensity exercise for the first time.